I'm Charbria Shine, and welcome back to Max Out Girl. Okay, so I'm going to jump right into it. I want to talk about the courage to continue. So really what I mean is, what are you going to do when someone says no to your dream, or no to your vision, or no to your goals? Maybe you have these goals and these dreams, and you have this big vision, this big plan for your life that you feel is inspired by God, but someone puts a dent in that, right? Or someone says no, and it makes you, it's like, sets you back, makes you feel like, well, maybe this isn't for me. I really want this, but there's so much opposition. And I don't know if you've been listening to my women in business spotlights, but they have been great examples of women who have kind of hit that brick wall and they realize, you know what, either I'm going to have the courage to continue and figure this thing out, or I'm going to shrink back and lose my dream, lose out on it, miss out on what God has for me. And of course, you know, I'm all about maxing out, girls. So you know that for me, I feel like that's not an option. We can't shrink back when opposition comes. We have to have that courage, the tenacity, I guess the faith, yes, to continue to move forward, to push forward. Sometimes just forcing ourselves forward, even when we want to shrink back. And again, if you haven't listened to those past episodes, check it out because they're encouraging stories. For example, let's talk about Barbara Bates. She is a fashion designer. She has her own boutique in Chicago. And, you know, there was a time when she went on a show on TV to try to get into like major retail brand stores. And she did not win. So that could have been like, you know what, my fashions aren't good enough, my designs aren't good enough, my ideas aren't good enough. That could have been discouraging for her to give up. But she didn't give up. She continued to pursue her goals and dreams. She continued to see that vision for her life. She didn't stop there. She continued to make designs, connect with other people. She says she found seamstresses that used to work in like the cleaners that were Polish, but they were really great at being able to make things. She said they were amazing. And then she said she connected with people. She continued, right? She didn't give up and say, you know what? They rejected me. They said no, they said no, they said no. No, she pushed past it. She kept going and she figured that thing out. She found other seamstresses. She found a showroom, but she did a lot of trunk shows beforehand. And a lot of people, she said, you know, came to those and supported her in her neighborhood, again, from Chicago. But she started, and it's such an amazing story, by, you know, wearing her cute clothes to her job that she had at the time before she actually had a boutique. And girls wanted to know, where did you get that from? And she designed it. So she was selling her designs on her break in the bathroom at her job until finally that overtook her and it was good enough for her and made enough money for her to step out on faith. Again, you have to have the courage to continue. And now she's been going on for years with a successful brand. She didn't give up. She has her own designs, her own brand, her own name, her own boutique, her own fashion shows, and she's been doing it for years. So again, and I want to give another example of Jackie Taylor. She's the CEO and she is the founder of the Black Ensemble Theater. Well, her first movie was Cooley High, and she said she really wanted to be an actress. She had always been in theater since she was a young girl. But, you know, she said that after that movie, she kind of had to come to a realization that in those times, back in the day, the only roles for African-American women were roles that she didn't want to do. Maybe it was like a maid, or maybe a slave role, or maybe it was a role where she had to be promiscuous. And she said she wanted to change the game. She wanted to eradicate racism. She wanted to be able to be an actress and not have to play those stereotypical roles or those disparaging roles, the discouraging roles that are not, reflective of our race. And she could have given up, because that is discouraging, right? And we have no idea maybe how that could have felt in the times that she grew up in. But again, we hear about it. And she could have said, you know what? My dream's not going to happen because these roles, they don't feel right to me. They don't feel like this is what I should portray. But she didn't stop there. She continued to go. She said she came back to Chicago and, she started her own theater. She had to get around the right people with resources, people with connections, people with money, find other actors. But now for I believe it was over 40 years, she's been running the Black Ensemble Theater successfully, producing her own shows. And now she's paving the way for other African-American playwrights. And so she could have given up, because sometimes it feels so hard to have to do things ourselves instead of joining someone else's company, joining someone else's, thing that they built. But what if we're called to build our own table, right? And sometimes it's that way. Sometimes, you're being rejected because God's calling you to build yourself, right? And sometimes you're being rejected and God wants you to continue to push in that vein until that door opens up. You have to discern, what is God calling you to do? And again, my other example is Shayna Tate, the CEO of Brown Skin Coffee Roaster. And so with her story is she became fascinated with coffee and the coffee beans and roasting, and she got a mentor and she was able to learn about it, learn how to get the different beans from different countries, the different types of ways to roast the coffee, to make the coffee and tea. And it was just so amazing. You have to check the episode out. And so she overcame opposition and had the courage to continue. Was right when she started her business. Obviously, we know COVID hit in 2020 and that shut everything down. Or did it? She got creative. She got innovative. She didn't let it stop her or stifle her. And sometimes we make excuses like, man, this is happening. That opposition is there. Maybe this isn't God's will for me, or maybe this isn't for me. No. How about there's a solution to every problem? So she didn't give up. She had a smart car, a little tiny car. It's so cute. Oh, I got to see it firsthand when I interviewed her. And they just went throughout neighborhoods and sold coffee. They built kind of like a shelf in the back that popped out of the trunk where they sold coffee. Then people start seeing like the little cute smart car with her logo on it, like, well, what is this? They start coming out and inquiring, and they fell in love with her product. Not only was she just riding through the neighborhood getting new customers, but now she's taking orders because they want her product. So my question to you is, do you have the courage to continue? When opposition comes, when there's 1,000 no's, are you going to push till you get that yes? Or are you going to forget the yeses and create your own yes? Absolutely. And sometimes that's what we have to do. And for me, with theater and the arts, I've created my own yes. Instead of worrying about trying to be a part of other people's productions, I love to write. Hello. So I wrote my own stage play, right? I love to write music. So I write my own songs and I do shows and I love it. And I have the courage to continue. Yes, it seems harder because I have to build it myself. I have to from the ground up. But it's so much more rewarding, I believe. When you're walking in purpose, you're building your own table, and you're not allowing other people's no's to stop your vision and your goals and dreams for your life. So I just want to say, be encouraged. If you haven't listened to those stories, go back on my podcast. This is available on all podcast platforms if you want to listen, or if you want to watch it on my YouTube channel, because we have a lot of cool visuals on the YouTube channel where you get to see their establishment, see some of their products, and it's great. But yeah, check those out because they're so encouraging to hear women, how they had to overcome opposition, how they had the courage to continue, and they did not give up. They may have heard a lot of no's, but when God says yes, it doesn't matter about anybody's no. So again, I just wanted to encourage you with some of the recaps of those stories because we have to continue, whether that's in school, in your business, working on that job, being a great parent, being a wife, standing in your singleness and not settling for less than God's best for your life. Whatever it is, you have to have the courage to keep pushing, to keep going, to keep having the faith, to keep trusting God because He has it for you. But you have to push. It says, the church suffered violence, but the violence take it by force. We have to push it by force, right? We can't give up. And sometimes we want to give up, but continue. Have the courage to continue, sis. Okay? So again, I just had to hop on here and encourage you today. Check out those women in business spotlights from last week and the weeks before. Like I said, you can check it on my YouTube channel. Go into Charbria Shine, or if you're already here, you know where to go. Make sure you give it a thumbs up, subscribe below, click those notification bells so you can get notifications when I have new videos and different things that are coming up. Also, share this with somebody who this can encourage. I'm all about empowering, encouraging, and entertaining us to be able to make sure that we're living our best life, right? So again, you can follow me at Charbria Shine. You can follow at Max Out Girl. And don't forget, the Max Out Girl Conference is coming up. August 19th. You don't want to miss it. If you like my podcast, it's going to be like my podcast on steroids. A very empowering, uplifting environment, fun, fellowship, food, activities, giveaways, DJ, dancing. Of course, great speakers, great panels. We're just going to have a great time to encourage you to maximize your potential in every area of your life. Believe me, you don't want to miss this. This is kind of like the pep rally of the season to just culminate my Max Out Girl season. August 19th from 10 to 5. Go to charbria.com and click Max Out Girl Conference for the itinerary, for the speakers, for their bios, this is just going to be a great time, sis. So get your gal pals, come on out August 19th. And right now we have $10 off. Use at checkout, max out 10. That's all caps, max out, and the number 10. So you better be there, girl, or be nowhere, okay? Because we're going to have a good time. All right. So again, I just hope I said something that encouraged, inspired, and elevated your thinking. And always remember to max out, girl. This is Charbria Shine. Talk to you next time. Bye.